Sometimes the most obvious truths are the hardest to accept. But the moment we can say them out loud to ourselves, for some reason, right then, it clicks in our brain. Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Paranoid Paradise. This is just an area where we speak about our thoughts. I usually have a prompt that I'll just speak about, or I'll talk about how my life is going, or an event that's causing certain thoughts to go through in my head. We just go through certain paranoias that are happening in this paradise that we call life. But as I was speaking about earlier, the truths that are hardest to accept are sometimes the ones that also the hardest to just say out loud to ourselves. For example, my one friend, let's name him Aiden. He had this one girlfriend, and him and his girlfriend have been beefing for a while. They've been dating for maybe, let's say, 6, 7 months, so enough time to like get to know someone, but they weren't really like, they were obviously in love and they really like had this connection, but they weren't too deep into it. And I didn't talk to him for a couple months, and then I met him again, and all he did was just complain about his girl, complain about his girl, complain about his girl. And I remember it took one day, one of our friends, like, we're all in the same group and we were all hearing about it. And, like, someone just said, like, is there anything you think that you and, for example, I think the girl's name is Kenna. Or Rue. You guys want to see my wiener dog? Actually, no. Let's say, for example, her name is Kenna. I was like, what do you think you and Kenna have to do in order for this to be fixed, if this is a situation that you guys can recover from? And obviously, come here, girl. Come here, baby. Come here, girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. So, yeah, I was talking about, I was like, let's say this, what do you think you and Kenna would have to do in this situation to recover from it? It's okay, baby. But yes, I asked, what do you think you and Kenna would have to do in this situation to recover from it? And that was when he like sat and he was like, oh, like, I honestly don't think there's anything that can fix this. So then right then he like, just because it was said out loud, it was probably something he already knew, and he probably already knew from the situation that this relationship is over. But just by being asked that question and being forced to say it out loud, it really made you think like, oh, this is true. Like this is a situation that cannot be fixed. I have to break up with her. And on the flip side of things, for plenty of men, masturbation is something plenty of men battle with. I beat my dick a lot, a lot more than I'd want to. And I know we all feel like losers after we do it. We all feel like little scums, but we all do it. And one little thing that's supposed to help people with this is actively like talking to yourself after you. So like, is one thing that's supposed to help people with this is actively speaking to yourself after you masturbate. So let's say you beat your dick, instead of just like cleaning up and in silence being like, oh, it's crazy. Like say it aloud, like, I'm disgusting. I'm a piece of shit, like that was nasty. I'm such a loser. What was I doing? Like, holy fuck, like, no way I just did that. Like you literally you put yourself in a different place. Sometimes you have to separate yourself from people and you just like beat your dick. Like that's pathetic. Like you think about it, man, it's pathetic. But you just have to say it out loud for you to really like deep how weird of a concept it is to just be beating your own dick, even though it's like it's obvious when you say it out loud, but it just takes you saying it out loud. And just because you say something out loud, that means it can help you overcome bad habits as well over a long period of time. And that's like how affirmations work. So I have the definition of an affirmation here. An affirmation is a positive declarative statement that is used to challenge, overcome. Sorry. An affirmation is a positive declarative statement that is used to challenge and overcome a negative thought or self doubt. The purpose is to reprogram the subconscious mind by focusing on positive beliefs and encouraging self growth. I know morning affirmations are a common thing people do because it's like as soon as you wake up, you're just telling yourself a list of a couple things that throughout the day, it's if you start off saying those things out loud to yourself, throughout the day you'll believe it because you said it out loud, like the same way we were talking about in the stories earlier. Like a couple of the affirmations people use are as soon as they wake up, they'll say, I am capable of achieving my goals. I am confident and worthy of success. I'm strong, healthy, and in control of my future. And sometimes people have like a list of affirmations they read to themselves over and over every day. Sometimes people have different affirmations they switch between daily. Some days they feel a certain affirmation, some day they tell themselves a different one. It really just depends on the day. Excuse me. But yes, that's the same way that affirmations work. It's just like actively saying something out loud to yourself. For some reason, that's when we actually believe it as people, even though when it could be glaringly true, but just because we don't say it out loud to ourselves, it's not a true thing. Yeah, as I said earlier, these work on the subconscious mind, and they make us to believe something off of a basis like nothing more than just saying it out loud. Like there's no truth to it, we literally just say it out loud. And there are countless times this works like the other way around. So even though we say things that aren't true, we believe them just because we say them out loud. So like a lot of people like lie to themselves, like the affirmations, in a way. It's not really lying to yourselves, but it's like you're not capable of achieving your goals, but you tell yourself every day that you're capable of achieving your goals. In that way, you really think, yes, I can achieve my goals. Whatever I put my mind to, I can achieve it. Whatever I set my mind to, I can achieve it. Whatever goal I set myself to, I can achieve it. And that's just the way that saying stuff out loud affects our mind. So we can use this in so many different ways, whether we, yeah, as I said, affirmations, or we're just struggling with things and we want to say things out loud to ourselves, or we're meditating and we're having situations that we're struggling with, and we're struggling to cope with things and dealing with things, but all we have to do is just tell it to ourselves before we can then go through another layer and like dive deeper into it. So this is the point of the video. This is like the main point. If you have been zoned out the whole video, like this is the point I want you to pay attention to here. In the next couple minutes, like lock in here, put everything else down, just pay attention to this. So I feel like everyone has one main thing that is holding them back in their life. Like just think about your life right now. Even like me thinking about my life. We all have, it may be a couple things, but there's one main thing. There's one thing that's overarching on everything else in our life. And it's like, if we could just get rid of this thing, or if we could just start doing this thing, if we could fix this thing, it would be okay. And the thing is, we all really know what it is. But deep in our subconscious, for some reason, I don't know what, I struggle with the same thing. For some reason in our subconscious, we can't allow ourselves to just say, I am struggling with this. I am struggling with drugs. I use drugs too much. I need to stop. It is affecting my life. It is affecting my daily relationships. It's affecting my relationships with my friends. It's affecting my work. It's affecting my happiness. But for some reason, I can't stop. Fapping. It's affecting my relationships. It's affecting my mental. All I think about, I sexualize everything. I can't stop. It's like we all have these different things. Depending on you, it may be something different. For a lot of men, it's fapping. For a lot of men, it's drugs and alcohol. For a lot of people, just not even men, for a lot of just people, it's drugs and alcohol. It's instant gratification. It's all these different things. Just think about what it is for you. We all have these things. But if we can actively just say it to ourselves and take ourselves out of this like almost like victim mindset, if we can take ourselves out of that and just really sit and think and say out loud to ourselves, or even write to ourselves, and just accept it. Even if you don't fix it right away, just accept it. Because we're all in denial to a certain extent. At least I know I am. I sit there, like marijuana usage, I was in denial of it a lot. All the time. Yeah. Well, there are like these celebrities who do it all the time. They're successful, and these successful guys, and this guy said, this study says that. But at the end of I know it's like the overarching thing. Every day I wake up, the first thing I had to do was smoke. Before I go to bed, I had to smoke. It was affecting my stomach. I couldn't eat the same. It was like I knew it was affecting my life, but for some reason I still had to have all these reasons as to why it was okay for me and why it wasn't the problem. It was this thing and this thing and this thing, and it was this person, and I could blame this person. But no, it was my parents, but the way I was raised, but this person had rich parents, but it was like I couldn't just accept it and say it out loud and just change things in myself for some reason. But I feel like all it takes is just us doing some deep self-reflection and then going on to change those things. And even though after it may result in more self-reflection past that, but that's perfectly fine. That's just the first base layers, at least knowing where we have to start and just having awareness of what this situation really is, and not being a victim and not blaming other things, but actually understanding things for the way they are. And for example, I played on the college soccer team at the college I go to. I didn't have to self off there. I played on the college soccer team, and it was really interesting seeing the polarity and the characters, because there were some people who were really, really, really good players, and they just beat themselves up all the time. Like this one, he was winger, really fast, really religious guy, like one of the nicest guys I know. Every day after practice, he'd do well. Coach wouldn't even hit on him. He'd be like, "Man, like I messed up here and here and here," and it would just sit on his brain. And there was another player on the other side of things who got no minutes, and it's the same thing. It's every single second of every single practice, everything he did wrong, nothing he did right he remembered. Everything he did wrong just sat on his brain, all day, all night until the next practice, and then it was like a constant cycle. I went into his dorm, and he had a whole wall of just the things that our coach told him that he's done wrong, things he needs to improve on, things he's noticed he's doing wrong. But it's like the exact same mindset of two players that one gets a lot of minutes and one does not get any minutes. And on the other side of things, there's the mindset of players who are like, yeah, like I'm better. When we lose, it's not my fault. I played amazing. It's everybody else's fault. I'm the best player on the team. I couldn't have gone wrong. And it's the exact same mindset from the players who don't get many minutes. Some of them have that same mindset of, but it's because this guy was born and he just weighs 20 pounds more than me. That's why he plays over me. It's not my fault. And like this, he's the coach's son. That's why he plays over me. Our coach just loves this guy. That's why he plays over me. Instead of like, I notice a lot of people don't have the ability to just look into themselves and say, wow, I'm a skinny little fuck who is playing in a position that needs you to be big and strong, and I'm not. So that's why I don't play. Or every time I get the ball in practice, I'm shit. Every time I open up and I'm a winger, I can't take it down the line. I just don't know what I'm doing and I lose the ball. It's coach's fault. No. Well, coach didn't see the one time that It's like I feel like people are always pulling themselves into this victim mindset, but you can take yourself out of the victimhood if you're only just honest with yourself. I'll out it. I go to Lakeland College, and I feel like I played on the soccer team there, as I said earlier, and our coach his name's Kevin Wagner. He gets so much hate from people, but I feel like the only reason he gets hate is because he is saying exactly what I'm speaking about right now. How people have these truths that they don't say to themselves, even though it's obvious, but just no one says it. And sometimes you'll go in a room and there's like an obvious truth that is everyone's thinking of, like, she's pregnant, why is she drinking? But no one says it. Everyone just keeps it on their mind. But this coach would force people to actually think about those things and actually say them out loud to you. And he has the worst rep, but I feel like it's not even because he's a bad coach. He just forces people into situations of being uncomfortable and making them think, oh, that's true, but I don't want to think that way. But it's true, but I don't want to think that. But I don't want to actually accept that I'm just not good at the sport that I poured my whole life into. It's like, it's easier to just say like, oh, the coach doesn't like me, when coach is actually just making you see these things. It's not out of a bad place, it's just because he wants you to better yourself as well. So if there's one thing I want you to take away, it's at least if you're on the path to fixing yourself, because it's a long path from like the beginning of self-improvement to being the rich millionaire who has all the right habits and all the right routines and all that. But I feel like the place you could start at is at least being aware of what's going on and at least understanding things and not being a victim. Being a constant victim is where you end up making you end up allowing your downfall, and instead of working on changing it, you kind of feed into it almost, and then you have this constant excuse as to why it's allowed, so it doesn't feel like it's your fault, even though it's just as much in your control as anything else. Well, that is all I got for that talk. That was amazing. I can't lie, I had a very good time speaking. Just had to click record. That's all I had to do. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any other topics you'd like me to speak about, leave them in the comment section below, or text me on Instagram. I'll probably respond right away because I'm still popping. Yeah, nothing but love though. Make sure to keep. Just make sure to be honest with yourself. Make sure to be honest with yourself, and if there's something you're thinking, just say it out loud. That's when the barrier is broken from actually thinking it and it being truth. Just saying it out loud. Love you guys.